Thank you for joining us here at Lowry Sports Rhetoric. I am your host, Nathan.
I'm Daimon.
And today we're going to continue here in the NFC East with the New York Giants. Last year, 2021, they were 4-13. They were fourth in the NFC East, and they did not make the playoffs.
But their offense was really good, right?
Offensively, they were 31st in yards.
Oh.
Offensively, they were 31st in points.
That's not good.
Defensively, 24th in yards allowed, 21st, and then defensively, 23rd in points allowed. So just really all-around bad numbers.
But the good news is they got a new GM and a new coach. Let's talk about it.
Okay, all right.
That's the good news.
All right, I was waiting for the good news.
Here it comes.
Okay. GM Joe Sheen, he's new. He was a Bills assistant GM. That's replacing Dave Gettleman. I know there were some problems there. Head coach is Brian DeBall, new Bills offensive coordinator, and he replaces Joe Judge, who is 10-23.
Look, I think you couldn't. It's got to be at least like it can't. It's not worse.
Yeah, I mean,
like no matter what. Like I mean, you're gonna. Hey, the Bills have been a very successful team. Picking people from them seems like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I think there was a little talk that these guys wanted to kind of be a duo together. That they were very comfortable with each other philosophy-wise.
It would be interesting to see.
And so, yeah, I think like
you said, I don't think it could be worse. And
it had to be done.
Yeah.
Like Gettleman and Judge had to go.
Yeah.
They had to go. Like the team was not
they
good.
Fumbled
They've not done. They fumbled as much as their quarterback.
They fumbled as much as
I mean, like they're just not.
That's true.
They have not got the job done over the last few years. They just have not. So it had to be done.
All right, let's talk about free agent additions. Mark Glowinski, guard from Indianapolis. I mean, Glowinski's all right. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a huge loss to us. So, Tyrod Taylor, quarterback out of Houston.
I think he's better than Daniel Jones.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see if he can
I
end
don't
up
know if
taking
they're going to start him, but he's better than Daniel Jones.
It's a guy that I would love to still see get another chance. Like, I just keep pulling for him. He just keeps having all these bad things happen to him. So I'm hoping. Anyways, yeah, that would be interesting to see if he gets the starting over Daniel at some point in time. John Feliciana, guard from Buffalo. Justin Ellis, defensive tackle from Baltimore. Jihad Ward, defensive end from Jacksonville. Matt Breida, running back from Buffalo. Samil Douglas, guard from Washington. Ricky Seals-Jones, tight end from Washington. And then Matt Gano, tackle from Atlanta. I do like Matt Gano. Jordan Atkins, tight end out of Houston. Richie James, wide receiver out of San Francisco. Jalen Holmes, defensive tackle out of New Orleans. Maurice Kennedy, cornerback out of Dallas. Henry Black, safety out of Green Bay. And then Khalil Dorsey, cornerback from Baltimore.
So before we get to the losses, I don't see a lot in there where I go, wow, that was exciting.
Yeah, me neither.
But I do see a lot of where it's like, oh, yeah, he's okay. He's okay. So I think this is the culture change kind of thing, maybe. Like they're bringing in guys that they feel like will be more what they want as a culture.
Maybe
would be my guess. So like
it is a lot of change.
We've talked before about not spending a ton of money when you're not ready to win yet. So bringing in veterans that you feel like play the way you want them to play, and maybe not doing like splashing a bunch of money, but just signing veterans or guys like Ricky James, the San Francisco wide receiver. He had a lot of hype coming out of college. He never really lived up to it, but maybe there's something there still. So guys like that have some upside, that have some potential. I think that's a better way to go than just splashing a bunch of money at things and I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. I'm not going to go there, but I just feel like that's a better way to build. So, not a surprise to me that the guy that came in from Buffalo was conservative with his spending and went out and brought in a bunch of guys to try to change the culture. And even though I think when you start saying these Knicks names, I think those names sound better than these names, but they obviously weren't getting the job done.
Right.
So, from that standpoint, I think that's the right way to build. You bring in the guys that play the way you want them to play, and then you build through the draft, and we'll talk about it when we get to the draft. So I just think that's interesting. You named a lot of names, and not that many of them are like.
That's true.
But so that's clearly what I think is going on there.
Sure. Free agent losses: Austin Johnson, defensive tackle, to the Chargers. Keon Crossan, cornerback to Miami. Even Evan Ingram, tight end to Jacksonville. James Bradbury, cornerback to Philadelphia. Lorenzo Carter, defensive end to Atlanta. Jabril Peppers, safety to New England. Will Hernandez, guard to Arizona. Logan Ryan, cornerback to Tampa Bay.
I mean, all those names sound better than the other names, but you go, well, all those names are on a team that was terrible, so
right.
Maybe they're not as good as we think.
And then also Dante Pettis, wide receiver to Chicago, and Riley Dixon, punter to the Rams.
I mean, Pettis is obviously, we brought him in to dominate. So.
Oh, yeah. Pettis, yep.
Just wait till the Bears video. We'll be talking a lot about him.
All right, trades. There were no trades. The draft, round 1, number 5, my Oregon Duck alum, Kevon Thibodeau, defensive end out of Oregon.
He's quite the painter.
Yeah. What? What?
Oh, Phil Knight hooked him up where he was selling his paintings for a lot of money.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know how good of a painter he is, but he got a lot of money for his paintings.
Well, he's probably a better football player than a painter because he is a damn good football player. He is a damn good football player. I will say that. I like him a lot. I don't think he was worthy of the number 1, but I think here at number 5, he absolutely was.
So I said this, I think, during the draft thing. Clowney-like, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think he's Clowney-like. I think he's not the pass rusher, but he can still be a dominant force because he can stop the run. He can disrupt.
Yeah.
But he's not one of those guys that's going to get you like 15 sacks. He's not that guy.
Sure.
But
very disruptive.
But very disruptive and can play the run. Like, he plays the run. This is the thing I think that is underrated with Clowney. When people talk about Clowney, they get down on him because he doesn't have the sack numbers. But the dude stuffs the run. And I think Thibodeau has the ability to do that too. And, if he wants to be a dominant force on defense, I think he'll be that. He'll be able to stuff the run and disruptive. But I don't know that he'll be that 15 sack guy.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate description of him. Yeah, he definitely, I think that's a good player comparison as well. So, round 1, number 7, even Evan Neal, offensive tackle out of Alabama. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
So like what we talked about, when I just talked about building a team and building a culture. So the guy that's going to protect your quarterback and the guy that's going to be disruptive on defense, those are your first 2 picks. Solid start.
Absolutely. Round 2, number 43, Wandale Robinson, wide receiver out of Kentucky.
Playmaker.
Absolutely. I definitely have my eye on him. He is a good player. Round 3, number 67, Joshua Asada, whatever, guard out of North Carolina.
Asada whatever.
Yeah, Asada whatever. I don't know anything about him, to be honest with you, but
he played in the ACC.
Sure, I got you. Round 3, number 81, Cordell Flott, defensive back out of LSU. I think that there's a ton of upside here. He could be a very good player. Round 4, number 112, Daniel Bellinger, tight end out of San Diego State.
Bellinger's got some interesting stuff with him. Like, he has some upside for sure.
Sure. Round 4, number 114, Dane Belton, safety out of Iowa. I actually like this guy. I was looking at safeties a lot, and I like him. I think he's got a lot of upside as well. So far, and I do say that I really did like their draft. Round 5, number 146, Micah McFadden, inside linebacker out of Indiana.
I'm a Florida State fan for football. I'm an IU fan for basketball, and so I also watch the IU football team every week pretty much. And you watch them with me.
I like Micah
We both
McFadden.
were big fans of McFadden, the way he plays. I think there might be some concerns about his size, and does that translate to the NFL? I think at worst he will be a good special teamer. I think he has the potential to be a solid inside linebacker. But when you talk about what we talked about with changing the culture of the franchise,
Great kid.
I think he has work ethic. He plays hard. He's smart. So that's the kind of people you want in the building. Even if he just is a special teamer, I think that was in the 5th round. That's a a good fit for moving forward for them.
Absolutely. Like you said, I am a fan of his for sure. Round 5, number 147, DJ Davidson, defensive tackle out of Arizona State. Don't know anything about him as well. Round 5, number 173, Marcus McKeithen, guard from North Carolina. Don't know much about him.
He's teammates with the other guy that you don't know much about.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, they did. They double dipped on guard from North Carolina. They like that offensive line. So okay, well that's interesting.
Did they hire North Carolina's offensive line coach?
Maybe.
We didn't dive deep enough down the chart to know that, but maybe they did.
That would be interesting. All right, round 6, number 182. Darian Beavers, linebacker out of Cincinnati.
We know you love that Cincinnati
and
Bearcat
I do like
defense.
Beavers.
If Beavers, listen, if you are watching one of these videos and your team drafted a defensive player from the Cincinnati Bearcats, this guy liked that pick.
Yes, I did.
It don't matter who it was. If he played defense on the Cincinnati Bearcats, this guy liked that pick.
I did like Beavers. I did. I really did. I did. I thought that their whole team was good. Like, it was so much fun to watch. Anyways. So yeah, I mean, overall thoughts though on the draft, like I said, I mean, I actually personally myself liked so many of the players that they picked.
Yeah.
Even deep in the draft, it was like players that I know, players that I like. So I did approve of that draft.
And I think Beavers is a lot like McFadden, like what I said about, like, that's even if he doesn't translate to being an NFL starter, he should make an impact on special team. He will be a good luck. He's that culture change that you're looking for. And sometimes you got to bring in guys that are smaller and hungrier and not as talented to make the talented guys change their culture. Because you go, hey, that guy beat you out, and the guy goes, well, I'm way bigger and stronger and smarter and better than he is. No, but he wants it more than you do.
That's right.
So if you don't want to start wanting it as much as he does, they made a movie about that called Rudy. Anyway.
You have a dog named after that.
I do. I didn't name him that.
But he is named after
that.
Anyways. All right. So we're going to go on to the projected starters here in 2022. At quarterback, projected starter, Daniel Jones, 2,428 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 298 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns.
You didn't say how many fumbles, and I think that might be the key stat for Daniel.
I know. I never do that in fumbles. I never do.
How about that? How many rushing yards did he have?
298 rushing yards.
And 98 of them were on that one play. Remember that one play? He had 98 yards on that one play?
Yeah, and he is capable of getting a lot of rushing yards. He is a dual threat. However, I think that he's a low-end dual threat. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones fan. I don't think I was from the start.
I thought it was a crazy pick when they picked him. I actually want to be a Daniel Jones fan. I wanted that to be. Everybody was so shocked. I kind of I don't know if it's
pulling for the kid.
Yeah, I like to root for underdogs. He feels like an underdog.
And he showed some flashes.
I want him to be good, but I'm just not seeing it. I just don't see.
He shows some flashes. He shows some flashes, but he's very inconsistent. And the biggest thing for me is, like you said, and I didn't write down the fumbles, but dude, he turns the ball over a lot. Then when you couple the fact that he had 10 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, I'm sorry, that's not production. 2,428 yards.
That's a bad.
At this point in your career, you should definitely be advanced past that.
If he was a rookie, we would say, well, he could be getting better.
He could still be getting
better.
But
he's not a rookie.
Yeah, that's rough to me. And watching him last year was rough. Okay, now I will say this. I'm going to go ahead and say this now for the record.
Let's say
when we start getting into their starting offensive people, injury was a huge issue. This was a huge issue on their team, and it's hard as a quarterback to succeed when you've got backup players playing in those positions. So I can understand.
Again, if he was a rookie, then that point would be very valid.
I just want to give him
that point would be extremely valid if he was a rookie.
I want to give him some respect because he looks like he's got some talent, but I don't know. I don't see. Anyways. Running back Saquon Barkley, 593 yards, 2 touchdowns, 263 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was injury problems last year. 13 games is all he played.
That's kind of starting to become a thing.
Yeah, he does get injured a lot, and that's a real shame because when Saquon Barkley is healthy, he's one of the best backs in the league.
Do you think there's something about if your thighs are bigger than most men's waists that somehow is connected to the injury problem?
I don't know.
I'm wondering.
I don't know.
Like the rest of his body just can't support those massive thighs that he has?
Maybe.
I'm just wondering. I'm sorry. It's something that made me. I was just wondering. I'm just curious.
But seriously, man, Saquon Barkley, he brings so much to the table when he's healthy. It's a shame him being injured. Like you said, this has been a consistent theme, and we've seen this before with other running backs as well.
Especially the power backs. Like the guys that just run people over at the college level for what? Like it's just the NFL is just so nasty. There's just so many nasty guys on the defensive side, week in and week out. That. I think it takes its toll on guys like that, and unfortunately for Saquon, like it seems like he might be one of those guys that never quite lives up to the potential that was there because he looked like he could be a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we see, like I said, we see that with other people.
But he's still young, and maybe he gets healthy, and maybe he's not an injury-prone guy, and maybe it's not about the way he plays.
Accidents.
Maybe it's just a couple, a string of bad luck that, like maybe, hopefully. But it's starting to look concerning.
Yeah. Wide receiver Kenny Galladay, 37 receptions, 521 yards, 0 touchdowns. He was injured. He only played 14 games. Sterling Shepard, 36 receptions, 366 yards, 1 touchdown. He had injury problems as well. He only played 7 games. Kadarius Toney, he was a rookie last year, 39 receptions, 420 yards, 0 touchdowns. He was injured and only played 10 games. I'm just saying, like, what are you supposed to do with that? A lot of
games lost to
injury. And then Ricky Seals-Jones, who comes over from Washington, 30 receptions, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was injured last year and played 13 games. Now, I know that's not for their team.
So even the guys that they brought in are injury problems.
Look, you can't. It's hard to gauge. Like I said, even their starting quarterback, it's hard to gauge when you have all of these injuries. If you look at their wide receiving core, I don't put that as the top receiving core in the league anyways. That's not really moving the meter for me too much. You know what I mean? I think that the Kadarius Toney kid has a lot of upside.
He's got some upside.
He definitely does.
And I like the draft pick that we talked about, from the Robinson kid.
Yeah. So I mean, there is some stuff there, but I don't know. It still looks pretty rough to me. Like, it doesn't look like, it just doesn't. And, I mean, one of the biggest things, again, Daniel Jones, I'm not that big on him. So, even with the Daniel Jones, you have this, it's not like blow your mind wide receiving core.
I mean, look, I think here's the important thing. Look, if you're a Giants fan, you probably aren't going to hear this, but you're in a very, very exciting position. Because I think timing-wise, you could build your team and have it be ready to go right about the time that it's time to draft Arch Manning.
Well.
And then boom. Boom.
Did you hold on to Daniel Jones that whole time, though? Or would you try to, I don't know. That'd be rough.
Yeah, because that's still like 4 years out. That's still like 4 years out. Maybe my timing's off on Arch Manning.
No, but they got Tyrod Taylor, so that's okay.
They do. There are some, actually, though, seriously, I was being kind of a smart mouth there. But there are some nice quarterbacks in next year's draft. People like next year's quarterback class a lot better than this year's. So, I think especially if the weapons stay healthy, you give Jalen Jones a shot, and then if not,
yeah, I think that there's a lot of areas they still got to address for this to be, you know what I mean? So
yeah, but I can see them going quarterback if it's there.
Sure,
if it's there, because I mean, yeah,
that's rough.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get on to the line, and then fullback they got Jeremiah Hall. So left tackle Andrew Thomas, left guard Joshua Isidore, center John Feliciano, right guard Mark Lewinsky, and right tackle Evan Neal, who's a rookie. I do have tons of upside there. Some of the other guys are, I don't know. It's a little rough.
You're gonna want to build that line. You're gonna want to work on that line. Yeah. So maybe they don't get a quarterback next year because maybe you still continue to work on that line.
I think they got a lot of holes.
I think the big thing is why was the last this is why those guys got fired. Like they did not build this team very well. I mean they had draft picks and they misused them badly. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's true.
It's just
all right. Defensive starters for the Giants next year. Left defensive end Jihad Ward had 32 tackles, 2 sacks. Comes over from the Jaguars. Nose tackle Dexter Lawrence, 54 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 2 pass deflects.
But I just gotta say this: That dude left the Jaguars and went to the only team in the league that might be worse than them.
I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Like, obviously he don't care about winning.
No, it's...
Winning's not high on his priority list.
Whatever. I mean...
I don't know. I don't know him. I shouldn't say that. It doesn't seem like he cares about winning. To go from Jacksonville to the Giants.
Than to him. I don't know. Anyways, we'll figure that out in a second.
I'm sorry.
Right defensive end, Leonard Williams, 81 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 pass deflects.
I mean, that's upside, right?
That is upside. Yeah. And then obviously into the linebacker. So yeah, that's like I said, the front three there. I mean, that's there's some upside there with Leonard Williams for sure. I don't know about the other two. Not feeling that, but linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau, rookie out of Oregon. Yeah, he's good, and I think you guys will very much like him. Linebacker Ty Crowder, 130 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, and 6 pass deflects. I mean, that's solid play right there. Right inside linebacker Blake Martinez, 23 tackles. He was injured and only played in 3 games, and I think that there is some high upside there. There's a lot of talk about him. So, and then linebacker Aziz Jurulari was a rookie last year, 49 tackles, 8 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 2 pass deflects. I mean, for a rookie, that's not bad.
I mean, so I think
there's some upside.
Just look at that front 7. So I talked about Thibodeau being a disruptive force and a guy that can really shut down the run. And then you got your sack guys with Williams and Ojulari. So, yeah, I think that there's some stuff to work with there, some hope that the defense is heading in the right direction at least.
I think that they are. I personally do.
I think that'll be a decent defense.
All right, cornerback. Cordell Flott, rookie out of LSU. Safety Xavier McKinney, 93 tackles, 5 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 10 pass deflects. Free safety Julian Love, 66 tackles, half sack, interception, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception. I'm sorry, half sack, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception, 7 pass deflects. And then right cornerback Adoree Jackson, 62 tackles, 1 interception, 8 pass deflects. All right, let's get into the Giants there. Okay, I personally myself, I feel like this is a team that, again, like I think kind of like how I talked about the Falcons, where I think that I see them putting pieces in place that they can build off of, and as long as they continue to make good decisions in the draft, I really like their draft a lot. I think in the future you're going to see them putting those pieces together. Do you know what I mean? I think that they have some building blocks there, and it's not horrible, but in the positions that almost are, like especially at quarterback, you're just not doing anything there, that's fine. I don't know. I just think that it's still going to be a rough year this year. Even though you show those signs of getting better, I think in the future it looks good. Right now, still going to be rough and still going to be bottom of the pack.
Yeah, I agree. Everything you just said. Bottom, definitely I would expect them to finish 4th in their division.
I do too.
I think they'll be drafting in the top 5 again.
Absolutely.
I'm very skeptical about Daniel Jones. But, this is about, we're grading off seasons. For who they are, I think they had a very good offseason.
I agree.
Brought in guys from a successful franchise that all talk is they have a great rapport together, a great chemistry together, which is why they kind of came together. They, like we said during the free agency, they didn't go splash a bunch of money around. They brought in a bunch of guys, probably to change culture. They had a solid, if not a great draft. It could be a great draft. At worst, I think it's a solid draft.
Agreed.
So all of that sounds really good. Considering where they are. And that's the thing. We did these videos in the AFC. We talked about a couple of teams. Their fan base didn't like what we had to say. It's understand where you are. If you're a Giants fan, you should be excited about the offseason you had. Not because you're going to be good.
Right.
But because you're building the right way. You're not doing quick fixes. You're building the right way to try to be good later, not now.
Which is the way the Bills did it, which is who you have coming over from them. That's how they did it, and they are the best team in the NFL.
That's the thing. It's build it the right way, and it seems like they're doing so. So I'm going to say one of the better off seasons out there if you combine everything of seems like a good GM hire, seems like a good head coach hire. They didn't go crazy trying to like splash the free agency, and they had a salary draft. All of that leads to collectively one of the better off seasons I think we've seen, even though it's not going to be one of the better teams out there.
Yeah, it doesn't produce immediate results. Really, long term, be patient. This is going to play out in the long run.
Yeah.
With them, so, and again, I don't think that they're ready to win Daniel Jones anyway. So, be interesting to see how that goes. So, anyways, thank you for giving us a watch. And if you got anything out of the video, give us a like, give us a subscribe.
Hit us up in the comments. Do me a favor. Let me know if we're wrong about Daniel Jones.
Would you rather see Tyrod Taylor?
Would you? Or yeah, Taylor or Jones? Who you like better? Are we wrong about Jones? Do you see a future with Jones? And here's something I'd really like to know. If I was going to bring this up, but I didn't. But I'm going to bring it up now. I almost think they should trade Saquon Barkley. I almost think like between the injuries and just the fact that they're rebuilding, I think by the time they're ready to be good, he's going to be past his prime. And I think you could get some building blocks for Saquon Barkley. What do you think about that, Giants fans? That might be controversial for Giants fans. What do you think about that? I'm curious to know. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you for giving us a watch, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.